I don't think
Yeah,
we
and
need
then-
to do a share screen on Discord as well. I don't think we can just look on the Excalibur.
Yeah, I'll have the Excalibur up for everyone on the stream, and then yeah, as long as we can see our own kind of personal laptops, it should be okay. Unless one of you wants to share to the Discord chat, that's cool too.
Wait, did it change the UI on the Excalibur?
Oh, did they change it?
Oh yeah, I think they did. Like the color selection stuff and the thickening of the pen as well.
It looks the same here.
Oh yeah.
For me, it's like it's
Prepare to
very
be
small.
iterated.
Oh.
Basically, they fixed the thing that you were complaining about.
I mean, I guess it's a smaller now, but not substantially small.
Well, I don't know. It feels like nicer.
I wonder if it's related to your browser.
Oh, maybe.
What browser are you using?
I'm using Braves.
Well, I'm using Firefox. Who knows?
I usually use Brave though too. Let's see.
I guess I can send you in the group chat, but look.
Oh, it is a slightly different, isn't it?
Time for
Yeah,
a
it's pretty
pop
small now.
quiz.
It looks the same to me now. I'm curious. Well, I guess when I
Wait,
see
really?
it on your, when I see it on your stream, I'll probably
Oh yeah.
realize what's
Should I
going on.
also stream? I was not sure if that was worthwhile.
Oh my gosh, are we gonna try to do shared chat again?
Yeah, I guess we can. I guess I can stream it also. All
I
right.
mean, I announced it with you streaming as well. But
All right. All right. We're gonna not.
Perfect.
We will do a truthful advertisement. Then we will not do false advertisement.
Also, thanks for the follow, Slim. Appreciate you.
yeah, I didn't know I didn't have.
What?
Yeah, like, I guess like I thought I already had you follow, but I guess I didn't. Yeah. So how was your stream with Ocarina of Time the other day? Did you? I don't know anything about Zelda, but I when I don't know things, I just make things in my mind. So I imagine
Huh.
that Zelda.
Nicely integrated.
I mean, playing the game with Ben was really fun, but setting up the Twitch stream together was a bit of a pain. Yeah, and I don't think it's happy now.
So, I mean, the only thing I know about Zelda is that you are supposed to defeat Ganon or something. Is Ganon the name of the guy? Ganon, Ganon.
Yeah, Ganon and Ganondorf.
Ganondorf. Is that the full name? And that Ganon is trying to like get the Triforce to conquer the world or something, right?
Yeah, it's usually a story about that.
Yeah, but like based on the names, like because there is one called. So in Zelda, I assume that Link only needs to rescue Zelda. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know why Ganon wants Zelda, but I imagine that is something like Zelda is like the fifth element, like maybe.
Yeah,
Ganon is the
Fifth
Triforce, but
element. I love that.
that's what I imagine happens there. Or maybe it's something like you know the Smurfs. What is the name of the bad guy in the Smurfs? Like Gargamel.
Gargamel, yeah.
Gargamel, yeah, yeah.
Maybe Ganon wants to make Zelda into gold or something.
No, it's more like the Triforce is kind of like three pieces, and they're like kind of people who's holding a piece of the Triforce. And what are the three? There's like the power piece, which is usually Ganon who owns it. There's the wisdom piece, which is Zelda owns it, and there's the courage pieces, which is usually Link who has it. So
Oh,
Ganon
okay.
wants to have all three of them to become like the most powerful thing ever.
Oh, I see. But why would Link has it? I thought that Link was just like
Oh my god.
think that he was like just in a small production of Peter.
All right, hello everyone. Welcome on in. My name is Pen Center. We're here today. We're joined with Sascha and Slim. We're going to be doing it's story time apparently with Sascha, which I'm pretty excited about. Hi Zach, welcome in. How you doing? Congrats on the QED. I just deafened them for a hot second just to kind of say hello to everyone, trying to get everything set up. It's been a busy day. But yeah, we're going to connect with the boys and see what kind of math they want to do. We're over in Slim's server right now, so if you want to come and join the conversation, you're more than welcome to. Where are we? It looks like we are in the general voice channel over on Slim's server, so let us know if you want to head over there and join the conversation, and we'll find a way to get you over there. All right, well, let's join up with the boys and see what they got to say. We were just
Sure,
talking
and
about
then
Zelda.
Link goes back into the past, and Ganon and Zelda are his parents, and he has to bring
What?
out. That's how I imagine Link. I don't know. I think that's how I imagine Link to the past, right? Like basically by mistake he make his parents fall out of love, and now he has to all the game he's trying to get them back there. You know.
I haven't played Link to the Past, so I don't know what's the lore. I think Ben has played more Link to the Past than I, right?
A Link to the
How many
Past,
Zelda
yeah.
games are there?
Yeah.
How many Zelda games are there?
Too
Close
many.
to 20 something.
Well, but I thought that it was only like probably five or you know. I mean, I know. Well, Zelda 2, Zelda 2 is Linked to the Past, I think. Then Ocarina of Time, and the two from the Switch. But I guess they have one for each platform, so yeah, probably a lot. But yeah, the Excalibur looks different for you. I don't know why it
Yeah.
doesn't look like that for me.
It
Yeah,
must be
I don't know
because
why.
we're using Brave browser.
Oh yeah,
Maybe.
Brave is just a better browser, so.
I mean, Brave is based on. It's supposed to be based on Chrome, right? So
I
mean,
think it's
everything
Chrome,
is
yeah.
based on Chrome except Firefox and maybe some obscure browser.
yeah.
Hi
Brave.
fam, how you doing? Welcome in.
Hi Voxad. Hi Ronaldo. Oh shoot! I
I
should
couldn't
probably
get
change
the
it.
I'm sorry, I couldn't get the shared chat to work still. So for some reason it's still not working. It looks like it's working
Yeah.
online though, which is weird.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that.
So weird.
But it's not
I
showing on
wasn't
my
one-
chat,
Hmm.
which is really weird. Well, maybe if I refresh my chat, it'll work.
Yeah, I tried to reopen my entire browser and that didn't work, so I don't really know how to fix it. Yeah,
Super
sorry, chat.
sad.
I had my BRB screen, which is the picture of Link with Mido, which is a trash can. I forgot to.
I
swap
love.
it.
I need to. Thank you so much for sending me that mod. By the way, I can't wait to download that.
You want to dumpster jump? Alright.
Dumpster jump, yeah. Zach says there are 21 Legend of Zelda games.
21 games.
Wow,
Whoa.
that's a lot. That's like 3 times 7 Zelda games. That's crazy.
Yeah, there are a lot. Famished asking, did you all figure out the streaming together? I think we have figured it out. Because I think on Twitch right now it's saying that Pen is streaming with me, but we're not able to figure out how to share chat together, so...
If you have that window open, there is like you have to activate the option of sharing chat.
Yeah, but the only problem is that the window didn't open, like it just said... it just said, oh, we got an issue and nothing else happened, so I don't know what's up with that.
I guaranteed it's because we're both using Brave browser.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. And it doesn't have the capacity to do shared chat with us too.
On the bright side, you have like a better version of Excalibur.
Hold up. No, I still have the same problem if I try to... Yeah, it's super weird. I don't know why it does that, but... Anyways.
Ooh, Famished used teleportation jutsu. Hi, Famished.
Yeah, Fembox says that you can have breakfast for lunch and dinner.
I can't. Usually I just hit accept and then it works. But I get this. I'm gonna share my
Oh my god, I don't know what I did, but
I'm
I just
getting this.
scrolled my
It's just
screen.
like I get this screen right here where it's just like I just get a ghost. It's like failed to load stream together. Is that the same screen that you get,
Yeah,
Sasha?
that's the same screen I have. Yeah,
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think we can do it.
it's okay. We will not be able to share people chat.
No
All
share
right.
chat, but at least it looks like everything on the Twitch side looks like we're streaming together, which is nice. So I guess if people are tuning into my stream, maybe is it worthwhile to do some introductions? So who are you? And maybe tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, your channel.
My channel. So I go through the name of the Killer Clown on Twitch, but I also go to the name of Sascha on Discord, and that confuses a lot of people apparently. But I'm a PhD student in algebraic geometry, and I also do complex manifold stuff. So that's pretty much my background. And my channel is basically me talking with Dessin d'Enfant, which is an undergrad student, and talking with Slim about category theory. And sometime I play some randomizer with the pen. That's pretty much my what I do on Twitch.
And now you're officially part of the Dexy server, where we get together with other people in the community to do the Ocarina of Time randomizer. So that's fun.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were studying complex manifolds.
Yeah.
That's super fun. So like what would you be working on or thinking about right now?
You mean like as a research kind of thing that interests me?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I'm mostly like kind of interested about some kind of invariant that you can put on complex manifold, which are called Hodge structure. Those are basically a glorified vector space, and they tend to be very strong invariant. For example, in case of curve, there's a special family of curves which are called elliptic curve, and elliptic curve are completely determined by their Hodge structure. So it's pretty strong, and I'm kind of interested into those kind of problem. Usually more kind of classification stuff.
That's cool. You're speaking my language. You said like kind of like a vector space. I got really excited.
Yeah.
I was like complex manifolds and vector spaces. Get out of here. That's great. That's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing. What about you, Slim? Can you give us some of your background so that I can get to know you a little bit more and tell us maybe about what you do on your stream?
Sure. Can everyone hear me all right? Hello?
I can hear you all
I'm
right.
not sure.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, I'm at the Academy of Useless Ideas on Twitch, and I usually just do whatever I've been thinking about math related. I've been trying to start some kind of like series. So we did a little bit of financial math. We did number theory for a while. We did problem solving for a while. So yeah, I basically when I join, I just do yeah whatever. I've been kind of pondering like the last week we were doing a little bit of category theory with Kaller, and that's basically it. I mean, I finished my PhD a long time ago, but I didn't do category theory or any of that. I worked basically in high dimensional probability. But I mean, my interest in math are very diverse, so I enjoy almost everything math related. So, yeah.
Yeah, nice. No, I've seen
That's it.
like when I've been able to tune into your streams, I've noticed you've been doing. It always seems to be a very wide variety of math discussions, math topics, problem solving, which is super fun to watch.
Yeah, it's
Do
pretty
you?
pretty good. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you have a particular area that you've been streaming the last little while that you've been kind of partial to, or that you're like excited about?
Well, not really. Again, I like everything. Well, one thing that we did that I think a lot of people enjoyed was that we were doing like a basic geometry. So we were doing like Euclidean geometry and and then we read a whole book, and it gave like four perspectives in geometry, and we even did a little bit of non-Euclidean geometry by the end. But it
Ooh.
also we also talk about transformations and coordinates and yeah and Euclidean geometry. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and now I'm trying to make it into a series of videos on YouTube. So that's kind of like what I'm doing lately, trying to make it, yeah, try to make these videos on that series of streams that we did. Like the idea is, and I didn't know because I thought that this was original, but apparently it's not original at all. Is that the idea is to try to do things, but not giving you definition, theorem, proof, yeah, and instead like trying to guide you through the concepts, through problems, and make it more interactive. But yeah, I was reading this book, Shape, and in this book, the author mentioned Jordan Ellenberg, I think is the author, that there was this guy like in 1885 or something like that, like more than 150 years ago, that basically wrote a geometry book with this idea. So it's kind of interesting how those ideas sometimes we forget about them. But yeah, I think that one of the reasons why people don't like math too much is um, because they are the math is usually presented in a way that is pretty hard to access. Yeah, so that's the book Shape, and the book that they mention in Shape, I think, is called Inventive Geometry, and it's by this guy George Herbert, I think, which is the same guy who invented the clip, the clips for paper, the paper clip, apparently.
No
So
way. That's so
yeah,
random.
yeah, it's kind of random. Yeah, like I was checking, and apparently the guy was kind of like a polymath, and he wrote a lot of philosophy and political science stuff. And but yeah, that book Shape is actually pretty good for those who enjoy math. I enjoyed it, and it's very accessible. But it gives like a good glimpse of math for the general public. So I enjoyed it.
Cool, very cool. I've also heard a rumor that you're a very good singer.
I don't think. I mean, I don't know if I'm good or not. I think that I enjoy it, and that's good enough for me. But I mean, I wouldn't necessarily expose anyone unless they want to be exposed to my music. I mean, I'm not like I think that the one who's actually a pretty good musician is Fizzboss. He's actually pretty good. I don't know if you
Oh,
have
I didn't know
heard
that.
Fizzboss playing the guitar and singing. I think he actually has some talent. I just do it because I find it fun.
Oh, that's it. We'll have to bug Fizzbuzz about that event like sometime in
Oh
the
yeah.
future. Yeah.
Have you seen? He even made some recordings for the Academy of Useless Ideas. Like, yeah, like I don't remember which songs, but they're somewhere in my server. Like, he recorded some songs, and apparently he also does like requests sometimes on his stream. Like he sings and does some like takes some requests. But yeah, definitely. Fizzboss is
Very
really
cool,
really
very cool.
talented.
Well, Slim, if you want to, while we're kind of getting set up here, you're welcome to post your Discord invite link into our chats, or at least into my chat. If anyone wants
Sure.
to join the server and kind of poke around, they're more than welcome to.
Yeah, so and while you said all those things, so you start your podcast with Zach. When is that happening?
That is happening Friday morning, believe it or not. So 2 days from now, I've started reading this like super intense book. It's called Building Thinking Classrooms by Peter Lilladell. So we're gonna be chatting a little bit about that, trying to argue. Well, I think trying to kind of describe how what classroom dynamics look like. So thinking a little bit about, what do we want students to be thinking about or doing inside of a mathematics classroom, and how do we design tasks to be able to facilitate the kind of thinking that we want. So I think that's going to be what we're discussing Friday morning.
Yeah, I think math education is such a hard topic because yeah, like it's not easy to figure out what's the best way of teaching. There are so many types of people, and some of them learn better in different ways. So I think it's pretty challenging. And also, like, how do you actually experiment those things? It seems a little unethical to we actually run an experiment on education, but what else can you do, right?
Yeah, no, totally. And I think some of those conversations are going to creep up as we start to talk more, right? Like, and so I would encourage anyone that has any interest in math and math education to join in. Obviously, we're going to banter a little bit with chat along the way, but we would love to hear your opinions on some of the things we want to talk about too.
So you have a doggo cam. So is it connected to your computer, or do you have it somewhere else? And is it like an IP cam? Or...
Yeah, it is connected to my streaming desktop, and it's pointed at the couch that Reese usually sleeps on. My apologies, it hasn't been cleaned in a long time. He's a Saint Bernard, so his jowls get everywhere and make everything very messy.
That makes sense. Yeah, like I got like an IP cam, well, one of those cheap security cams because I wanted to do a Fiona cam, which is the cat that I befriended. But I've been having. I mean, I can open the cam on my on VCL, but I cannot like create a scene on OBS. I have no idea why. Like I mean, I could just kind of like a screen share the thing that I see in my computer, but I wanted to just to get the feed directly and put it into OBS, and I wasn't able to do it.
Oh, that would have been super fun. I could imagine like what the cam would look like. Like would it be on their collar and it would just like follow them around the house or something?
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. And actually, yeah, I like that idea now. No, it was just a security cam that I put in the room where she plays. Kind of like what you have. The thing is that
Okay.
the room is not in the same room that my computer is, so I cannot just connect another webcam.
Yeah, I think that'd be super fun. I would love to do that with Reese.
Oh,
And actually,
yeah.
I've had a lot of people saying like, "Oh, like just stream while you're like taking Reese for a walk or something." Like people just want to see Reese all the time.
I mean, I don't blame them,
Joe,
right?
welcome in. All right, well let's turn it back to Sascha. It sounds like Sascha has like a story to tell us. It's story time with Sascha. I'm pretty excited. I don't know what the story is, but are you ready to go?
Yeah, so today it will be a bit more informal than what it will probably be the next time. But I sort of wanted to give you an overview of what our Riemann surface is, and also wanted to sort of show you some cool subject that we might be able to do it at the end of at the end of this like mini course. So
And I
maybe
guess
I will show
I
you.
wonder if it might be important for us to preface by saying, if any of you watching by the end of today are interested in joining the conversation, I think the three of us would be more than happy to invite you into any future conversations if you want. And maybe you two can correct me if I'm wrong, but
Yeah, I mean, you're more than welcome to join our voice channel or participate in the chat. Feel free to ask questions. I will try not to assume too much. I will basically assume that you probably seen a first course in complex analysis, and that will be pretty much it. um, I mean, most of the things that we will probably need in this course will probably be a first course in complex analysis and a bit of topology, but Ben doesn't know much topology, so we're gonna do some kind of crash course on that with the things which are important to know for this
perfect.
topic.
It's been a while since
But
I've taken a topology class, and I didn't do very well in my algebraic topology class.
Well, direct topology is a bit.
It was really hard.
Okay, so maybe I will sort of give you an approximate definition of a Riemann surface, and sort of to make it more precise, we will need topology, but for now I will sort of just give you an approximate definition, okay?
Sure.
And after that, I will sort of give you one of the historical motivation to introduce them in the first place. So Riemann surface. So here's my very bad definition. This is a somewhat reasonable topological space. Because I mean, usually a topological space can be very bad, and we sort of don't want them in our nice theory. So we have to put some conditions on somewhat reasonable topological space. That looks, at least if you sort of have a microscope and you look like very close to your manifold, you will get that this guy actually looks like some open set in C. I mean, maybe you can see some little disk that looks like.
So it could be like the upper half plane or the full plane.
Exactly.
Or does it have to be connected, or can it be something like what's the word? Could it look something like this? If it like, could it be a donut but the edges are open?
So you mean like kind of an annulus in the plane?
Yeah. Like, so could it be something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is an example. So usually the basic examples, just so that we have at least a few picture in mind, are any open set in C. So this include as you said, I mean, this include, for example, small disk like that, but I also include more complicated open set like the one you just described with this sort of annulus shape, right?
Yeah, we use that a lot with like residue theory, right? When we're making okay.
So those are all example, and probably one of the most important example is C itself. And maybe
Color, just a question that occurs to me.
Yes.
What if you actually have the boundary? Because I mean, you want to talk about compact ones, but it seems like if you add like a closed set wouldn't be a Riemann surface, right? A closed subset of C.
Yeah. So all the Riemann surface which are in C will just be they will just be open set in C.
Okay.
But you can have more interesting example, and maybe you. I mean, maybe I don't know what you did in maybe a complex analysis course, but I think most people have probably seen this construction, at least in their complex analysis course, which is the Riemann sphere. Which is sort of the complex plane, but you also add a point at infinity. And you can picture that as being some kind of sphere. And maybe the picture I mean, usually the way I like to sort of think about it, at least intuitively, is as follow. Okay. So we have the pole north, which I will just call it the point at infinity. And there is this construction from geometry, which is the stereographic projection. I don't know if you heard about that.
Who are you asking?
That's a beautiful complex plane. That's gorgeous.
Maybe I will draw it. So the idea is that if you have a point on your sphere and you sort of fix the pole north, what you can do is if you have a point P, you can look at the line that go from the point at infinity, your north pole, and your point P. You will get a straight line like that. And this line at some point will intersect the plane, and they give you a map from the sphere to the plane. But there's a bit of an issue, is that what about if P is the pole north itself? Right?
What'd you say? What if P is the North Pole itself?
Yeah. Then what would look like the line that goes through the North Pole and the North Pole?
Yeah, so I guess it's that problem of like, it doesn't matter like which direction you go in the complex plane. We usually think about the point of infinity as like infinitely big, like way out here, right?
Yeah. But the point is that this map is only defined from. Fuck, I'm writing in black on the black background, and this will probably not work. This map is defined from the sphere without the North Pole, so I call it this point the point of infinity, to the complex plane. Because we cannot really make sense of like the line that go through. I mean, to be able to draw a line, I need at least 2 points, right?
Right.
And if like P is also the same as the point at infinity, then I cannot draw a line. I mean, there's like kind of an infinite family of line that I could choose, so I cannot really make sense of that. So as you can see, is if I remove the point, if I remove the null part of the sphere, I get that the sphere pretty much looks like a complex plane, right? I mean,
Yes,
at least
I would agree. Now, what
I-
do you like to put the equator of the sphere on the unit circle? Is that how you typically think about it?
Yes, you can do it, but for that you have to sort of shift the plane to be on the at the center of the sphere. There's kind of there's a bit annoying. There's two things which are called stereographic projection in geometry, but yeah, if you choose the green plane that I have here, if you put it at the center of the sphere, then you will get that the equator of your sphere correspond to the unit circle in the complex plane that I draw there. Yeah, and here you have probably a way better picture than whatever I can do.
I mean, your picture is beautiful. It's really beautiful.
It's really
But
handmade.
Yeah, but I is like there must be other ways to do the projection. I think this is one way that I've seen it done, where like you make sure the equator lands on the unit circle. Everything in the northern hemisphere is outside of the unit circle, and what is it? Anything in the southern hemisphere is inside the unit circle, I think.
Yeah. And you might say, well, I can do it for the North Pole, but there's not really an issue about doing on the South Pole as well, right?
So how do you mean? Like if you want to put the South Pole on the plane, or
So right now I have a map which is defined from the sphere except at the North Pole. But you say there is nothing special about the North Pole. I could take like I could fix any points and I could do the same construction, right? I could, for example, instead of fixing the North Pole, I will fix the South Pole.
right? Okay,
Take
gotcha.
this point. You know what I mean? And now if I have a point, which is I don't know, this point P here, and I guess I will do another not very pretty complex plane.
Yeah, I see. So that's interesting. That means you can you could rotate the complex plane around and put it wherever you want by fixing a particular point that would be
Yeah.
there'd be a line that would be kind of perpendicular. I'm trying to think about how to describe it, right? So like if this is my complex plane, like this piece of paper, I basically draw a perpendicular this way, and the point out here on the sphere is the one that I'm fixing, and I can kind of rotate that around in any way that I want.
Yeah.
I'd never thought about that before, but that's yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah. And now what you can do is if we sort of look at the definition I gave, I say that's a reasonable Riemann surface is a reasonable topological space which locally looks like small disk. I should probably say more generally as open set in C. And you can see that the sphere sort of check this definition, right? I mean, the sphere is not an overball topological space. It's kind of the sphere has to be one of the nicer example of a topological space, whatever that means. And using the construction that we gave here, we sort of see that if we remove the North Pole from the sphere, we just get something which is basically the complex plane. And I can also do that with the South Pole. If I remove the South Pole, I get something that also looks like the complex plane. So you can sort of think, I mean, you can sort of think of the sphere as being kind of like two planes which are glued in some specific matter. But yeah, that's the point I just wanted to say, that the sphere looks like looks like a bit like the complex plane if you work on small part of it. Is
Vanished.
that
Are you petting the couch, Vanish? Okay, so that makes
so-
sense. You also said something about gluing, meaning
Yeah.
like because we have a projection, you can kind of like if you take out that point, you can kind of unravel the sphere and kind of attach points to points, right? Is that what you mean by gluing?
Yeah, so I mean, I will not go through into because I mean we will do it a bit when we do topology, but I sort of have my sphere which is covered by like kind of two planes that I just described here, and what I could do is I could say, okay, I want to identify this first. I want to identify a point on this plane with a point on this plane, whenever they correspond to the same point on the sphere. So you can. You can sort of recover the sphere by like kind of gluing two plane together in a specific way.
Yeah, interesting. So I think like when I studied this in my master's, we called it like stitching. So you could kind of like stitch points together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The idea is just we want to identify. I mean, the point is just that I mean, using the stereographic projection, points in the complex plane correspond to point on the sphere, and we sort of have like two ways of doing that, and we want to identify a point in those complex plane which correspond to the same point on the sphere, just so that we get a sphere back. But anyway,
Okay.
so the Riemann sphere is one example of a Riemann surface.
I think Chaotic Dude had an interesting question, and that is, what makes the definition break if we were to use a closed set rather than an open set? I don't know if it's worthwhile to say any more on that or not.
Yeah, so basically and I will sort of sketch you why you don't want closed sets. So for example, if I say I want to have the unit disk, but I also want to have the boundary of the disk, okay?
Okay.
Or I guess I can even take something which is simple. I can take half space. Let's say I take the upper half plane, but I also had the real axis, okay? Then sort of intuitively why this will not work, why this wouldn't consider a Riemann surface by my definition is because there's, for example, if I take a point which is on the boundary, and I sort of look at a neighborhood of this point, so I will maybe look at this small disk here, which I can take to, oops, I should probably write it with the dotted line. Then you can sort of see that this guy cannot be, I mean, what you can sort of show is that this guy doesn't really look like an open set in C because you sort of have this this boundary which is kind of in the way, right?
Right.
That's kind of like the intuition. So this is what I mean. You can make sense of Riemann surface with boundary. Those are usually called, as I said, Riemann surface with boundary. But those are usually a bit weird to study.
Yeah, and I think like I'm just trying to help my brain make sense of this as well and get back into the swing of things. So if we don't include the boundary, that means that we can't choose a point on the boundary. So we can get really close to the boundary, but those open sets will always be open, right?
Yeah. Sort of a test to check if you look like a Riemann surface is that if I have my Riemann surface, for example, the sphere I will show you, and I take like a point P, and I sort of just take some small neighborhood of that point, and I remove my point P. I should get something that looks like a disk with a puncture. Okay.
Oh, because you're not including that particular point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what a Riemann surface will look like.
Mouse is very excited. Why does nobody invite me to the hot streams?
Wait, who said that?
Mouse did.
Anyway, and for this example, this doesn't quite work because I mean you don't really get something that looks like a puncture disc. You more or less get like half a disc with like a sort of puncture in the middle of the half disc. It's kind of a, it's not exactly the sort of picture you get, but yeah. But you can consider those with boundary, but usually having boundary and being like sort of doing complex analysis with boundaries usually they're a bit incompatible in some sense. Usually they don't play nice with the complex analysis aspect of it. But anyway.
Okay, Mouse, if you want to join Academy's Discord server, that's probably where we'll be hosting the voice chats. And then I should have it on the schedule too, so it should be on the calendar, so you'll know kind of roughly when, depending on, sorry, it's usually depending on my time because it's really tough being an apartment chair and doing streams. But it should give you a rough idea of when we'll be talking about some of this stuff. And if you want to join in and kind of do some of the reading with us and chat with us, you're more than welcome to.
Okay, and maybe to address one question that the stream asked is that there doesn't seem to be a nice example of compact Riemann surface because in the complex plane, I mean, there is not really example of compact Riemann surface. There is no example of that. But if you look at something which is a bit more geometric, which is kind of a thing glue with open set in the complex plane, then you can get an interesting example. The Riemann sphere is actually an example of a compact Riemann surface.
Can you just quickly remind me, does compact just mean like, are we using, it includes its like boundary values? Or is there something more that I'm missing there?
So the definition of compact, the actual formal definition is that it's a topological space where each open covering, so that just means that your space is covered by some open set, right? Then in this open covering,
is it a collection of open sets?
Yes.
Okay.
And the fact that the space is compact, that means that for each of this of those covering by open set, you can always choose a finite number of open in this covering that still cover your space.
I mean, I think the definition of compactness in general is very, very abstract, and depending on, I mean, most likely if you took a class in topology, at some point you kind of resigned yourself and you just learn it by heart. But it's actually one of the things that amazed me. The definition, I believe, is by Hausdorff, Felix Hausdorff. And I think he struggled with trying to come up with the right definition of compactness for a long time. And he had several definitions. And I think it's the kind of thing that, unfortunately, I think due to time constraints, again, like most of us just learn the definition and roll with it. But then if you had more time, probably what you would realize is that there are a lot of phenomena in analysis that is much easier to prove when you have this property of compactness. And a typical example would be that, for example, in the real line, if you have a function that is only defined in a closed unbounded set, a continuous function, then you know that you achieve the maximum and the minimum of the function. Probably you have heard that in your calculus class, right? Like the maximum principle. And then the reason underlying this in the proof is basically because closed and bounded sets in the real numbers are compact, right? And actually that's a very important theorem when you take analysis. The Heine-Borel theorem tells you that the sets in the real line that are compact are precisely the sets that are bounded and closed, right? Another definition that is equivalent to the more abstract one that is a little bit more concrete. It's not equivalent in general topological spaces, but it's equivalent in metric spaces, like this one, is that a set is compact. Well, this is called sequentially compact, but it's equivalent if for every sequence, like if you create any sequence in the set, there exists a subsequence that converges. And yeah, you can, like in metric spaces, you could use that as your definition. It's a little bit more concrete than the one with open sets. But I think that, Kaller, if we are going to talk about topology on the next time and do a larger review, probably this is worth to mention because I feel that this is something that I mean, the concept itself is not too hard, but I think that people may need may want like like a good explanation of
Yeah,
what
yeah,
it is. You know.
yeah,
Yeah, because yeah, like sometimes it's one of those things that if you hear enough, you kind of get a sense of what it is, but if you don't hear it enough, it just becomes like a word that makes you feel that you are not understanding. You know. Because yeah, like I mean, again, if you talk to anyone who has taken those classes in topology, they're gonna tell you quickly like a compact set is a set such that every open cover has a finite subcover, right? But yeah, those things, it it kind of devolves into something that doesn't have meaning,
yeah,
like if
yeah.
you don't have like some examples. And by the way, Kaler, if you have any good idea of why compactness, I mean, because that's my intuition. If you have a better intuition, let me know, like an intuition of why the concept of compactness turns out to be very important. In my in my experience, I just have it in my head that it works. It's necessary for certain theorems,
Yeah,
right? Like for
yeah. I
having
can.
for
Okay, I can maybe give you kind of a philosophical, kind of moral reason why we usually want compactness. So usually in compactness, okay. Um, so you probably know this theorem from real analysis or for the real number, which is the Bose-Allnaut Weierstrass theorem, right? Which is basically what you mentioned, Slim, that on a compact set, um, any sequence in this compact set always admit a finite subsequence, right?
yes,
Yes,
yeah,
this is
that's against
usually, yeah, this is usually very useful because um, I mean, for people from analysis usually likes to have that because, for example, if they want to sort of build like kind of an algorithm to find, for example, the zero of a function or something like that, they can use this kind of principle to get to be able to extract a subsequence, and hopefully this subsequence will give you the solution. But you can adapt this kind of procedure in even higher dimension. For example, a lot of people who are doing PD and R, they are using a lot um, of they sort of reduce the problem of solving their PD to being some kind of optimization problem in kind of a very large dimensional space. Even I mean, there's a kind of function space which is kind of infinite. And you always want to have like kind of to know what's are the compact set in this space, because you can sort of have results similar to Bose-Allnaut-Weierstrass, which are very useful to obtain solution to PDEs or stuff like that. But in geometry, usually usually there's a bit of this thing which is a bit annoying, is that if the space is not compact, for example, the complex plane or like the real, I mean, Rn is usually not a compact space. Usually they will have geometric information sort of hidden in this fact that the space is not compact. So you have to sort of play a little game of to sort of tame a bit your space.
We've had a
Like,
small request, Sascha, if we can have a
Yeah.
small diversion. Mouse, it sounds like Mouse is going to go to bed, but Mouse
Okay.
would like you to ask you to say Laurent.
Laurent.
Is that what you wanted, Mouse? Laurent? Lauren? It's not Lauren. Get out of here.
No, the French name is called Laurent.
Laurent. Yeah, exactly. Laurent. Get out of here. Go to bed, you you dirty English speakers.
Yeah. So for example, one thing which we're gonna sort of see the why we sort of care about compactness is, for example, um, um, okay, there's kind of this idea. So there's this idea in complex analysis which is called the maximum principle, right?
Can you just remind us what that means?
So if you have so there's kind of a lot of version to that, but if you have a compact if you have a function which is bounded an analytic function which is bounded on the disk,
is this? You owe me 100. What, are you guys betting on my Twitch channel? Stop that.
No, it's like the version of Poison Mouse of humor. Like he's been saying that to Fanbox like for years now. And the debt compounds. Like it starts like in $1, and right now I think it actually went down. I think at some point it was like $250 or something.
Oh wow. So Fem has paid a deposit.
I assume so. I don't know. I don't know what happened with that. But yeah.
Okay, yeah,
usually...
so the maximum of F is reached on the boundary. Yep, okay, I do recall that.
Yeah. And usually, if your space is sort of, if, for example, on the Riemann sphere, there is no like all the holomorphic functions are all constant because of this principle. This is kind of one of the things. And so usually this is kind of cool because if your space is compact and you look at like holomorphic stuff, I mean, there's a bit more general than there's a general concept which sort of generalizes holomorphic function, which we're gonna see a bit later on. What is kind of nice is if your space is compact, the set of those functions will always be a finite dimensional vector space over the complex number.
What?
So it will,
no way.
So it will always be kind of tamed. Like there's like not many solution, and there's like it's kind of small. On the other end, on the complex plane, this is completely false, right? There's like the space of holomorphic function on the complex plane is like humongous, right?
And by the way,
gotcha.
holomorphic is the same as analytic here, but
yeah.
You get the same idea. And by the way, that's the kind of like philosophical reason why people claim that compactness is important. That basically many arguments that seem infinite, when you have compact sets, they become finite in some sense. That's a philosophical argument.
Yeah, so there's like a lot of annoying stuff, talking over something which is not compact. There's usually a lot of geometry kind of hidden in those non-compact behaviors, which you sort of have to work a lot to get.
But before that, color. So you say that holomorphic functions over a compact set are finite dimensional vector spaces. Is that what you said?
Yeah. So maybe this is a claim that we're gonna see pretty quickly, but. If M is a compact Riemann surface, then the set of holomorphic functions that we usually call that. So yeah, we just. So this is mapped from M to C, holomorphic.
I see. You defined it for us. Okay.
Yeah, it's finite dimensional.
And just to make it concrete, like you said that the sphere is a compact Riemann surface, and then the holomorphic functions are just constants, right?
Yes.
And then that means they have dimension 1.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Well, I should say it. Okay, I didn't state the. Okay, if we just look at the holomorphic function, then this is actually the only holomorphic functions are constant.
In the Riemann sphere?
Yeah, not on any compact.
In any compact set?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are constant.
Oh, but you said that you were going to use a generalization of holomorphic.
Yeah, for the generalization, it's no longer true. They're only constant. They can have... They will at least be finite dimensional.
Okay, and what is the name of the generalization?
So this is finite dimensional of holomorphic section on the line bundle, but don't worry too much about it. We were gonna talk about it later on.
Yeah, it sounds like okay. Yeah, so that's something to think. Like, what would be the natural way to generalize holomorphic functions?
Yeah.
In a compact.
You will see that it's kind of useful to sort of study function from a Riemann sphere to something else. But as you can see, it's not obvious like what kind of function you should look at, because if you just look at holomorphic function, in the compact case they're just constant, so it's not there's not much information going on here. Okay.
What would be, but just before you move on,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
would be the generalization, like in the sphere, what would be the functions that are this generalization? Because I mean, if it's a finite dimensional vector space, I assume that they are not too hard to describe.
Yeah, I didn't plan to go to that, but I can maybe give you a
I mean,
small
let's
a
just
small idea about how it works. Okay.
okay.
So what we're gonna sort of do is we're gonna sort of okay. So the Riemann sphere is given by two planes that we sort of glue together, right?
Yes.
So I will call
But,
it.
Kaler, but if I'm gonna derail you too much, don't worry.
Okay.
We can just put that on the list of questions for next time or something, because I don't want to derail you into
Okay.
too much, right?
But maybe I can give you a small answer. Is that
Hey, Floofy. Floofy is asking, this is because of Louisville's theorem. Is that correct?
yeah, so Lewis' theorem is a bit less general than the maximal principle, but it's kind of the same flavor. Basically, the idea is that if so Lewis' theorem is for holomorphic functions which are defined on the entire of C. So Lewis' theorem, if I remember correctly, is that any bounded function, holomorphic function on C, so they have to be mapped from C to C. They have to be defined on the whole of C. Then if it's bounded, then it has to be a constant.
Yeah. So that's correct.
Yeah, the maximal principle is a bit stronger than that because it works for like small open sets, which is kind of a bit more useful. But just to remember, just to give you an idea, Slim. So basically, we're going to study line bundle, and basically line bundle are sort of described this way. I mean, at least function to a line bundle are sort of working this way. So what you do is you give me two holomorphic functions defined on each of the open set. Okay. And if you sort of wanted just to have a holomorphic function which is defined on the on all of the Riemann sphere, what you will do is you will just ask that S0 restrained to U0 enter U1 is equal to S1, right? You will just like kind of check that the two are agree on the intersection and sort of conclude that they give you like an holomorphic function which is defined on the whole of the Riemann sphere.
Don't you
Right.
need the function to be like bi-holomorphic or something like? Don't you need the inverse also to be holomorphic?
No, I don't need
okay.
that. I don't need that. I just need to check that they agree on intersection, and then I can glue them to get something which is defined on the whole of C star, on all of the Riemann sphere. But basically, the idea of line bundle is that we're gonna twist this condition. Instead of looking at this condition, we're gonna introduce some kind of twist. So this is kind of a function which is, well, okay, maybe I can talk a little bit about that. So usually tau is an holomorphic function from U0 and tau U1 to value into C star. Okay, and this you should sort of think as a twist. Right now it sounds extremely weird, but it turns out that I mean, for the Riemann sphere, those can be described quite explicitly. And usually you will get a more holomorphic function on those guys. But I guess I will not tell more because otherwise I would have to spend probably 2 hours explaining what is a line bundle, and I don't really want to do that.
This is the same. I mean, you did the same construction when we were talking about schemes, right?
Yeah. This is kind of the. I mean, this is kind of the moral of the idea is that line bundle are sort of like a bunch of holomorphic functions, but instead of having the diagonal intersection, they sort of diagonal intersection, but they're also kind of twisted by this guy. But I will leave that as for now. Okay.
So,
okay, and I
think a good question from Femvox in chat here, and I think it's worthwhile to talk a little bit about this twist because I think I understand what it looks like visually now. So Femvox is saying U0 could be the northern hemisphere, for example, and U1 could be the southern hemisphere. Now, do they have to be? Are these closed or open sets?
So U0 and U1 are open set. So on the Riemann sphere, okay, maybe I can draw it. If I really want to draw the sphere, I will have. Okay, let's say U0 is the one without the North Pole. Then U0 will just be the complement of the North Pole. So it will be. Well, I guess I have to put some dotted line here, but it will be basically the entire sphere except the except the North Pole. Yeah.
Okay.
So U0 will just be S2 minus the North Pole, and U1 will be S2 without the South Pole.
Right.
Okay. Anyway. Okay. So those were a bit kind of the idea of what they are, but kind of, I mean, why were they introduced in the first time? That's kind of what I want to answer now. At least kind of give you the idea. So what is the actual historical motivation for that?
So the complements of the poles are equivalent to C, right? So they agree on their boundary, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's the idea, right? Like they're both kind of equivalent to C, so they agree on.
Yeah.
On their overlap, I guess, right?
Yeah. If you want to sort of think of that as being the complex number, and you sort of have coordinate Z, and this guy has a coordinate, let's say W, then the two will be related on the overlap. You will have Z is equal to 1 minus W. And that's usually like I mean, if you ever deal with the Riemann sphere before, that's kind of what you do when you want to check what's happened at the point of infinity. That's kind of what you do. You just change your variable to be 1 over W or something like that.
Yeah, and then I'm kind of assuming this twist is just some kind of rotation of the points around a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So for example, you could multiply by Z, or you could multiply by Z squared. That would sort of twist the kind of function you can get. Okay. Okay. But those were not kind of the historical motivation, so let's talk a bit about them. So you probably witnessed that in complex analysis, that you can have some time function which are which are not injective, but you will still be able to talk about their inverse. And probably the well-known example of that is the exponential. And usually usually if you're sort of used to real analysis, what you will sort of do when you have like, a problem involving exponential and you sort of want to know what's the constant in the exponent, what you will sort of have is to have a definition of a log. Can we make sense of the log function? And if you sort of remember your complex analysis course, the kind of the main takeaway is that, yeah, you can sort of make sense of log, but it's no longer really a function, right?
What about me? He wrote me into this.
It's something which is called a multi-value function, right?
Right.
And maybe we can sort of give you an example. For example, if I would like to compute, for example, log of, for example, of 1 in the complex plane, then there is not like a unique solution, right? There's like many possible value that I could give, right?
Yeah, what is it? 0 plus any rotation of 2i pi or something like that, right?
Yeah. So is not unique because, for example, exponential of of this guy is equal to 1. So
Oh, Zach spotted in in Excalibur. Zach has been spotted in Excalibur.
Zach and his cousin with a little N are being spotted in the chat. Is not well defined. And usually the sort of the thing that you learn in the complex analysis course is that, oh, okay, actually, if you look at like, a small enough disk and you sort of fix like one of the value, for example, you say I want log of 1 to be equal to 0, then in that case you can actually define a log function, but it will only be defined sort of on this small disk. It will not be defined on the on this bigger domain.
Right. Yeah, you can always get like a local branch, right? Is
Yeah.
usually what they call it in English.
Yeah.
And by the way, Color, this is kind of related to this thing with the monotomy group, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, like that proof that we did, I don't know, like a few months ago on the Abel-Rufinis theorem. I don't remember who suggested to look at that proof. That theorem is the theorem that tells you that quintic equations are not solvable by radicals. And one of the proofs uses the fact that you can think of that polynomial as a complex function, and then the inverse would be multivariate, a multivariate function.
Yeah.
And depending on the topology of that, then we have that impossibility result based on the topology of that, right? I know that this sounds a little too abstract, but I hope it makes sense.
Yeah. It sort of does, yeah. Again, maybe I can sort of give you a bit more a general way that you can sort of build the logarithm function. Usually what you can do is you can take your map C and you can look at the graph of your function. So maybe I can just define it. So let's call it Z and W because those are sort of the name that we like to give to them. I guess this guy will have a puncture.
When Don was doing the complex analysis, the complex analysis reading group for that, I think you can find the picture online, and it's kind of like the analogy that they were using was with a parking lot with different floors.
Yeah.
I don't know if people remember that for those who were into Don's stream.
So you can sort of look at the graph. So usually the graph is like you have something like that. So you have you can sort of take Z, and then you have a map which map to the graph, which you just put Z in the first variable, and the second variable you just put f of Z. And then you also have a projection. Like that, and here you have your you just have your map F, and this projection, what it's doing is that you just have Z omega, and you just drop out the omega. Yeah, and this is a very good picture. So what you see what you see sort of the surface that you get above,
yes,
is the graph of our function. This is our omega F that we have here in the special case where we put F, which is the exponential. Then you get a graph that looks something like that. It's a bit of a funny graph because, if you sort of look at the dimension of this guy, so the complex number is kind of two-dimensional. So this guy is really a graph which lives in a four-dimensional space. So you sort of have to be a bit creative to be able to draw a 3D picture of it. But that's the picture you get. So this is an example of the graph of the exponential function.
All right, Kaller, so you are saying that as a motivation to study Riemann surfaces is to understand these inverses of complex functions that are multivariate functions. So I assume that the idea is instead of seeing at the inverse as a function from C to C, or a multifunction from C to C, you can see it as an actual function from C to a Riemann surface. In this case, the Riemann surface is that garage function, right?
Yeah, it's the graph of your function. So this sort of explain like how you can inverse some function. You just look at the graph and you sort of get those kind of picture like that.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't know how that's going to be useful. And the other thing that I don't see is that graph being compact. But I remember that when we were talking about this, you were saying that you have to compactify it, which brings more questions than answers, I guess. Because I don't know.
Yes.
So Floofy is just asking a clarification question. This is the exponential function, right?
Yeah, so the picture that I think that Span will pull it out, that's exactly the graph of the exponential function, or at least
because it keeps like kind of
some
spinning around the
representation
complex
of the
plane, I guess.
exponential. Which is okay. And okay. So what I want to say you a bit more. Okay, so basically the initial sort of motivation to Riemann was to study those kind of multi-value function as graph of some kind of exponential function. I mean some kind of holomorphic function. And okay, here I'm gonna use, okay, now this is maybe the hard part of today's stream, will be to remember one theorem from analysis. Only one.
You're asking a lot.
Yeah, but it's kind of a bummer. This is usually, I mean, this is kind of the final boss of analysis in some course, or if you want multivariable calculus, this is kind of the final boss. This is the implicit function theorem.
Right.
Okay,
So,
let's see if we're able to state it.
I can't state it, but it's the one that allows us to differentiate piece by piece, right? It says that implicit functions have basically subsections that are differentiable, is how I think about it.
Yeah,
Right?
we'll
like,
see.
And like there's like you'll say it more eloquently than I do, but it's like if you have an implicit function, you can restrict it to subfunctions, and each of those subfunctions is differentiable. That's how I always think about it.
So I mean, the way that I think about it is that if you have a function, a differentiable function, then in the points where the derivative is different from 0, then you can pick an open set such that you can find that the restriction of the function is invertible, is 1-to-1 and onto, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of multiple ways. So I think the one that Slim was talking about was the inverse function theorem, which is a bit different.
Oh, yeah.
From the implicit, but they're kind of related. If you ever seen the proof of those two theorems, once you know the inverse function theorem, you can prove the implicit function theorem, and you can also go backward.
Okay.
So sometimes people call the inverse function the implicit function theorem, but here I really want the inverse function. So usually here I put the complex number because I'm mostly interested in complex analysis, but it also works for the real number. You just have to put Rn or some open set, okay?
Oh, the uniqueness must be important.
Yeah. Maybe actually I will state it for... Maybe I will state it for the real number so we can sort of have a very easy graph to draw, because otherwise the graph will be in 4-dimensional, so I will probably just look at the
I mean, I would love to see you draw something in 4 dimensions, Sascha.
you would like me to have to paint the domain myself? Or whatever technique they use to draw the kind of spiral we get for the exponential. So usually one of the example is that if you have a curve which is defined as the 0 of some function, and usually the textbook's example is to look at curve that looks like that.
Right. So like just what is this? A sphere of radius 1 centered at the origin?
Yeah. So it would be a circle. Yeah. So f minus of 0. So when this guy is 0 is precisely all the point xy in R2. Such that x squared plus y squared is equal to 1. And what the implicit function theorem said, so this is the hard part to remember what it says. It said that if for a pair of point x0, y0, So this is sort of a point on our so maybe I will draw it. So I guess, can someone draw a better circle than me, please? Oh my god, Pen used the technology.
There you go, a beautiful circle.
So let's say we take the point, which point we want to take. Maybe the point 0, 1?
Okay.
How do you feel about it?
I'm happy to take whatever point you think is important or helpful.
Okay. So, what is the implicit function theorem tell you is that if when I take the derivative of f, so in higher dimensions this is a Jacobian, so I would have df of dx, and I will also have df of dy, right?
I assume that this is a 0 here, right? We're taking a order
Yeah.
inside of this
Yeah.
set. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So in our specific example, we will get. Well, I guess I want to evaluate at point x0, y0, which is the point which I care. x0, y0. Then in our case, we will have, so the derivative of f with respect to x is 2x, 0, and this guy is 2y. 2y0, okay? And what is the implicit function theorem tell you is that if at the point df dx, sorry, if the derivative of the first coordinate, for example, I mean, it doesn't really matter which one is, not 0. So I guess for our example, I probably want to take the second one. Okay, sorry. You should have said no when I said I wanted to take the point 0, 1. This was not the point. Oh, shoot. This was not the point I should have chosen.
Here, I'll bring the theorem over, and maybe we can talk about why that's a bad point to pick, because it's equal to 0, right? And we want it to be not equal to 0.
Equal.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take the point 1, 0. I mean, it sort of worked, but I sort of want to tell you that the derivative with respect to x is 0, because I don't know, I have this wish. So if this guy is not 0, then there exists a small neighborhood around, x0, and the small neighborhood of v around y0. Okay, now I have to remember such that there exists a function from u to v such that f minus 1, 0. It's already annoying to state this theorem. Intersection with u enter v, u cross v, will be equal to the set of point x, g of x, for x in u0. I think I got it right. So what is the theorem saying? So if a function is continuously differentiable in the neighborhood of the points, and okay, in this example, they asked for the second coordinate. Oh, I guess I got it wrong then. Sorry. They should be backward. Anyway, you get this condition, okay? And basically what this tells you is that at least on this small chunk of your sort of curve, which is defined by this implicit function, then on this small open set U enter V, you can actually write your function as being the graph of some function. Okay, maybe I can. Okay, maybe I don't make quite sense right now, but. For example, if we look at the example of the circle that we have here,
yeah, okay, you can write that as a square root function.
exactly
Is what it's saying. Yeah, okay, yeah. And it's a unique unique function, right?
Yeah. So G would be something like square root of 1 minus y square.
Right. And that would give us the right-hand side of that. And then if we had a point on the other side, it would give us the negative square root.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the visual helped a lot there.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, you have to have one example because otherwise it's really easy to forget what the theorems say because there's like so many goddamn conditions. But yeah, in this example, it will tell you that you can write you can look at the circle, at least on this sort of purple part that I sort of draw, as being the graph of some function.
And I think it's interesting, like this point up here didn't work because it would be on the boundary of the functions that we would choose, right?
Yeah, so so for the point above here, it could not be a function in terms of y. It would have to be a function in terms of x to be able to express.
Yeah, and I can kind of like, I mean, with this particular example, you can even kind of visualize that derivative coming across that point, right? So there's kind of like no way of being able to to put that point into one of these sets, I guess, in some sense, right?
Yeah, and this is kind of a very useful result because. One definition of sort of a Riemann sphere or in general a manifold is that it should look locally like an open set in the in either the complex plane or the real line, depending on what you're looking at. But for Riemann surface, it would be in the complex plane. But this G here gives us exactly that. It gives us a way to have a curve which is defined by an implicit function. To be covered by some small disk, to be sort of parametrized by like some kind of small disk.
Now, but this particular function would, this function would accept 0.
Yes.
Sorry, this function would accept 1 and -1 is what I meant to say, right?
Yeah, it would, but for this part, sort of this chart will kind of go bad because, basically you will get into trouble because usually square root function is not is no longer smooth at 0, so you sort of want to avoid those points. But what I'm saying is that. Okay, maybe here I will kind of try to present. Sorry if it's a bit,
but I'm sorry. I'm just trying to make sense of some of the terminology here. The neighborhood is important, right?
Yeah.
Right. So we have to be able to have this condition in a neighborhood, and if I pick this point up here, like at 1, like if I choose y equals 1, the problem is going to be I'm not going to have that neighborhood around that particular point. I think, right?
Yeah. So you're sort of looking at the. So the neighborhood around x0 is sort of this interval here on the y-axis.
Yeah, so there's going to be a problem there because I'm not going to be able to get that neighborhood condition. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Or sorry, it's not going to be differentiable in the neighborhood, I guess, is what the theorem would say, right?
Yeah. And this is, and what is sort of make the implicit function very cool is because now we sort of have a local parameterization of our curve. If you give me some y here, I can give you a point on the. I can give you sort of like a chunk of your curve by setting this to be g of y and this guy to be y.
Right.
This will be exactly the purple pieces that we just draw on the picture on the left.
Right. So it's an embedding of a one-dimensional space into a two-dimensional space. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, so basically what I want to say is that usually when you want to do sort of a computation and you sort of want to do calculus, usually you want to be able to have like a parametrization of your stuff. For example, if you want to integrate on the circle, you want to be able to parameterize the circle with, for example, an interval, right?
Right.
And usually it's really hard to do if I give your curve to be given by an implicit function, right? For example, if I ask you, can you find me a parametrization of this guy?
Are you just making stuff up?
Yeah, I'm just making stuff up. I'm not even sure if that thing is smooth, but anyways, it's usually really hard to. I mean, this will draw you like a curve, right? If we go to Desmos and we ask it, for example, what that I wrote, x squared. Maybe this curve is not smooth, but we'll have to double check. Y to W. Plus 2.
It looks pretty
That's why-
smooth.
I mean, they have self-intersection. Okay, let me fix it a little bit. Okay, this guy is smooth.
What did you change it to?
I just remove, so instead of 2xy, I just put it 2x.
Okay, so now we have just like a little pimple here in the XY plane. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I tried to put the on the escalator. I don't know if you can see the thing.
Oh yeah, there it is. Okay.
Yeah.
And this
It's
is,
a bit-
I think, just with
it's-
2x. So let's get rid of that one. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, if I usually give you like kind of a very high polynomial like that, usually it's pretty hard to sort of explicitly find a parameterization, right?
Right.
But the implicit function theorem say, well, if you look at the derivative and they're not all the derivatives are vanishing, then you can always parameterize your curve at least on some small part of your curve by some kind of parameterization, which is sort of the thing that we're looking for.
Yeah, I assume things would be kind of weird where we have the vertical tangent line, so it would probably split it like somewhere in here into like three pieces. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You can sort of think like, oh, maybe like this sort of maybe I can use the color. So maybe up to this point here, if I sort of look at like that, I can parameterize it as being the graph of some function with respect to x, right?
Right.
And when I go to this part, because as you said, we have sort of issue because the derivative at this point will sort of be infinite, right? Then I can sort of say, okay, this guy will be on this chunk. It will be given by the graph of some function in y, and you can sort of do that for all the pieces of your function, and basically basically this kind of very complicated looking shape curve will just be given by a bunch of graph of function. This is kind of like what the implicit function theorem tells you.
Right. Okay.
But I mean, you usually if you want to have the actual parameterization, usually the theorem doesn't tell you how to do it. I mean, you can sort of try to solve a PD to get the actual parameterization, but usually it's way too complicated to do it. So.
Yeah, this is the problem we run into a lot in math. Like the theorem just says there exists this function, right?
Yeah,
that has the
yeah.
properties, so it doesn't tell you how to find it. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe this example is maybe not the best chosen one because maybe it's not that hard to parameterize actually this curve. But anyway, you can probably imagine that if we put some very complicated combination of x and y as a polynomial in two variables, we can probably come out with some crazy stuff, right?
Yeah, usually
okay.
usually the what is it? Usually the Stewart textbook has a good picture. If I have it, I may not have it here. Oh, here it is. I'll see if I can find the picture while you're talking.
Yeah, so Voxon, you can probably do stuff like in Portland. It's probably possible to parameterize curve, but usually there's not like kind of a good recipes. Most of the time you sort of have to look at the equation and sort of guess how to do it. And if you sort of just trying to do it manually, it's kind of not very obvious that you can always parameterize a curve. But the implicit function theorem tells you that you can, given that the derivative are not all zeros.
So this is the one that the Stewart textbook gives as an example.
Yeah.
Where they break this up into 3 different pieces.
Yeah, exactly. That's a pretty good picture. I'm very happy that you found it.
Yeah, so I follow your argument. It makes sense once we started drawing the picture and kind of understanding that the boundary points can sometimes be a problem.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the idea that curve and usually stuff in the given by implicit equation can always be parameterized given that all the coordinates don't have a derivative that vanish at all. Okay. And this gives us kind of a cool way is that one way to define a Riemann surface, well, I mean, one kind of slot of example that you can have is you looked at function from C to C, and you define your Riemann. You look at S to be the where F is vanishing, and if for all x 0, if for all x of f(x) and y in your surface, you have so this is the Jacobian. I guess I should put the point here. So you have df dx and you have df dy. And okay, I guess I should probably put x0 and xy just to clarify that I want.
And in this case, are we assuming that like x0 and y0 should be connected like this, right?
No, so x0 is a complex number and y0 is also a complex number.
But wouldn't F inverse act on C? Or am I wrong here?
So yeah, it would give you. So yeah, you will go to C, but so sorry. What's the question?
I guess I'm just confused about like is F inverse is it acting on C cross C? So we have 2 complex numbers we're working with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This guy is in C square. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Probably I should have called them Z and W because X and Y are kind of, named for real variables. So
it's okay. I just wanted to clarify just to make sure my brain was following you.
Yeah, and sorry, I just have to bat some butt. All right, and the condition is that if the Jacobian is not 0 at the for each point on our surface, then S will be a Riemann surface. And the idea is exactly
what? So all you require is non-zero Jacobian.
Yeah, because I can just use the implicit function theorem. So basically what's going to happen is that if this is the case that the Jacobian is never 0, then it means that I can cover my surface by open sets such that my surface will be given by the graph of some function.
Interesting. Okay.
Basically just like the example that you sort of give us, but I guess this isn't the real case, right? But this, I mean, the implicit function theorem also works in the for complex variables, so there is no there is no issue with that. And this gives us like a lot of examples. So for example, now we have equation like we can look at what we call the complex circle. Well, x and y's are now points in the complex plane. Okay. So all power of point x well will give you a surface, and this will be an example of a Riemann surface. Basically, because if we sort of write, so if we write the function that I care about, so fxy x squared plus y squared, I mean, this is basically the same computation we did for the real case. We get that the Jacobian is 2x, 2y, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the only moment that this guy is 0 is when both x and y's are 0, right?
Yeah, so is this, this is the complex 0?
Yeah.
Right, so basically we're saying, like, this is really... Yeah, so we need both to be identically 0, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, so the only way that this is 0 is when x is equal to 0 and y is equal to 0.
Right, because this is really something like this, right?
Let's see.
Like, it's really a
No,
complex number.
Sorry. I think I sort of misunderstood your question. No, the Jacobian is a matrix. It's a matrix with two column and one row.
Two columns.
So when I sorry, I shouldn't put a comma here. When I write this is not 0, I just mean that this guy is not the 0 matrix.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And so I was thinking about it as like this must be a complex number where the first coordinate is this, and the second coordinate is this. I think it's the same thing. We're just showing it in two different ways.
Yeah.
But yes, I understand you. So both would have to be identically 0 for this to be the 0 column matrix. Yeah.
And if we look at our condition, so our condition is that for all points in our surface, we should have that the Jacobian doesn't vanish, right? But here's the thing: is that those points x0, y0. So if we sort of look at our equation, which are given by our surface, those are not points in our surface, right? 0, 0 in the complex plane is not a point. Of the surface given by x squared plus y squared is equal to 1. Because if we just substitute x is equal to 0 and y we get to 0, we don't get 1 back, right?
Right. So this is really just like a shell in some sense. It doesn't include the inner points.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's okay. It's okay if your Jacobian goes 0 sometimes, but the issue is when the Jacobian goes 0 to a point on your curve, then you don't have something which is smooth. But if the Jacobian goes 0 to a point which are outside of your surface, then you don't have. Then this is completely fine.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Hence x squared. Hence this guy. I mean, all the pair of fxy in the complex plane which satisfies this equation give us a Riemann surface. So you can already have fun with a bunch of Riemann surface. You can just write a bunch of polynomial equation, for example, in two variables, and you can tell which one will give you a Riemann surface and which one will not give you something which is smooth. Okay. Okay. Okay, so now I can sort of talk about one of the small projects that we could do kind of as an endgame bus.
Okay.
if you want. So this is one of the cool project. By the way, is Slim still here around?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Slim already knows all this stuff, so he's just letting me talk.
No, I don't know it, but I don't want to look like an idiot. So
No, you're completely
He's
fine.
gonna let me look like an idiot for him. It's okay.
It's completely fine. I think everybody is an idiot when we talk about the implicit function throughout. I got the condition wrong the first time, so I guess I'm also an idiot.
But I know,
Yeah,
to me, that's the
sometimes
point of talking, right? Like, we get to kind of figure out, try to make sense of what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
I made my life mission is to make everyone else feel smart. And
That's
think
a
that
very,
sometimes-
it's a very nice life mission to have.
Yeah, I feel that people are too afraid to ask questions and all that, and I would like to do that. No, but I thought that the conversation was flowing well between the two of you, and I didn't have anything to offer, so that's what I was quiet.
I 100% agree with Fem. Fem says, I no longer care about looking like an idiot. One of the joys of getting older. True. It's very true.
Okay. Okay. Now maybe I will tell you some kind of very cool project, which is the following. Okay, so maybe I will just give a very small explanation about. I mean, maybe I don't know if Pen has knew much about that, but have you heard of Project Space before?
Yes.
Okay.
This is where you like add a I think I've used it where like you add a component, and by adding like that extra component to the vector, you end up like, from my perspective, you end up getting like really nice linear algebra that pops out. So I think I've seen it with regards to trying to classify like Mobius transformations. Is that
Maybe you,
am I in
maybe
the
you've
right
seen
place?
a bit off, but maybe when I will explain it, maybe that will clarify. So okay, maybe I can sort of give you the street version definition of Project Space. Let's say Pn. Okay, so n is just an integer, a positive integers. Okay. So Pn, if you sort of have to sort of say what it is the set of line in Cn plus 1. And by line here, I mean line that goes through the origin.
Okay, so P would be the set of all lines in C.
N plus 1.
C. So P0 would be the set of all lines in C that go through the origin.
Yeah. But when I
Okay.
say line, I mean, okay, here I have to say something more. Here I mean complex line. Okay, I guess I should probably just say it in terms of linear algebra. One-dimensional complex vector subspace.
Oh,
of
so
Cn
could
plus
these? So in the complex plane, these could be like circles or something silly like that, right?
Not really, but I mean, we're gonna call them line. But if you sort of actually sketch it in, in the real, they will be two-dimensional.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Just because whenever you have like something in algebra which is of the dimension, for example, k in the complex number, this will actually correspond to something of dimension 2k over the real, right? But they're
Yes.
just line as usual. There's nothing like crazy going on. They're just like kind of a vector space generated by one vector.
Yeah, P0 would be generated by a singular.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So any line is just C times some vector v, where v is a vector in Cn plus 1, which is not 0.
Not 0. Yeah.
And usually a very convenient way to talk about projective space is to introduce homogeneous coordinate on this guy.
Oh, okay. This is what I was thinking about was homogeneous coordinates.
Yeah,
Yes. Okay.
yeah, I think that's what you meant. So,
Yeah,
so
sorry.
this is kind of like the very kind of, if you have to draw, like describe the projective space in one sentence, you will say that this is the set of lie in Cn plus one. But the maybe more kind of the coordinate way of talking about that is to say that Pn is the coordinate like that where well, I guess this is a bit annoying. I have to remove the origin, and also I will consider that because when you look at the picture of that, right, there's not really a singular like kind of vector that generates a line. You can like multiply it by some constant, which is not zero, right, and they will still give you the same line, right? So we consider for all lambda which is not zero, we consider that lambda is at zero given by that, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Yep. I've seen
Yeah,
this before.
I mean, basically, you're not doing anything to the line, right? You're just basically taking your generator and multiplying by something
You're
which
scaling
is
it by
zero.
some value. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this is fine for is it fine also for Slim?
Yep.
Okay. And so usually you cannot really make sense. So you cannot really make sense of polynomial equation all over the projective space, but there's specific polynomial which are called homogeneous, which satisfy the following condition. So they are polynomials in n plus one variable. So maybe I will just write this as this.
I guess what you want is for the polynomials to be well defined, given that you have that equivalence relation. And
Well, you cannot really have that. They will never be like kind of a reasonable function on projective space. But what you can ask is that at least when I try to rescale a number, okay, let's just call it z. So z is just a tuple. I want this to be lambda 10 times pz. Then if we have that, we say that p is a homogeneous polynomial of degree n. So usually the example, I mean, usually I can sort of tell you how they're made. So let's take z to be.
This kind of reminds me of
to be
like
equal-
working with determinants too, like kind of being able to pull
Yeah,
out
yeah,
this
they
lambda.
sort of have this property. Yeah.
Yeah, very similar property.
And so if you take n is equal to 1, so we'll have with polynomial with two variables, so z0 and z1. And homogeneous polynomial will just be polynomial that looks like that. It will be 3 times, for example, I don't know. What is your favorite number between 1 and 9?
4.
4, okay. So we can take, for example, x4 plus xy3 plus, I mean, I don't know, maybe we can even put some coefficient which are some complex number, let's put it high. Y square, x square. But the important part is that each of the monomials, so each of the terms, have the same degree. So here you can sort of see that in this example, they all have degree 4, right?
Right.
So whenever, for example, whenever I want to look at multiple of xy, I will just have a bunch of lambda, right? That will just be 3 times lambda x4 plus lambda x lambda y cube.
Okay, yeah. So you're always able to factor out lambda to the power 4.
Yeah, you see what happened? Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's really like this is really how they have to do. They're just like kind of polynomial, which all their monomials, all the terms have the same degree. So here you can sort of see that.
Like, does that? I guess that kind of makes sense, right? Like if x, y. No, never mind. I'm not saying this. No, I think I'm saying this properly. X and y are going to be the subcomponents of the complex number z. So we're really just taking, lambda z. Okay, I see that. That makes sense.
Yeah. So under this, so they're not really function defined on the on the projective space, because projective space would require that this guy should be like sort of invariant under lambda if this was well defined over the projective space. So you cannot necessarily, I mean, for example, if I give you the point sort of 0, 1, and I ask you to evaluate p, this doesn't really make sense, because I could change my point 0, 1 to be, for example, the point 0, 2, right? Okay, maybe this is not quite clear. Okay.
I think I get it, but I think you can do that thing where you get back to one polynomial. Don't you have like this homogenization thing?
Yeah.
And then you can come back to a unique polynomial once you choose like kind of like the chart where you are.
Yeah, so you have like multiple charts. That's kind of what the way you look for softness. But okay, those are not really. I mean, you cannot treat them as being functional over the projective space, because, for example,
I think that's clear.
Yeah, but one thing which you can do is that if for example a pair xy this guy to 0. So let's say we have p lambda xy is equal to let's say we have. Let's say we have a pair of points xy. Let's say this guy equal to 0. Then for all lambda in C star, we have p lambda x0 y0. We have, so by definition, we should have a lambda n times px0 y0, right? But if we assume that on this guy we have 0, then we also get 0 on this part. So this show you that maybe the value of those polynomials is not well defined over projective space, because if it was well defined, you should be able to multiply your pair of points by a non-zero constant and still get the same answer. So this is not usually well defined. But what you can do is you can talk about when a homogeneous polynomial vanish when it goes to 0. So it makes sense.
So you can kind of talk of varieties.
Yeah.
I see.
Of when p goes to 0 as a subset of Pn. Yeah, we can even do it for more polynomials. And as Slim told us, this is an example of what we call a projective variety. I'll also probably put the objective algebraic. And usually you can also have analytic, algebraic projective variety, or the memo is there are zeros of polynomial equation, okay? And you also have a counterpart, which is the analytic part, which is analytic projective variety, which is basically the same definition, except that there is zero of analytic function. Okay. And usually there is like way more analytic function than algebraic. There is way more analytic project. I mean, usually you would probably assume there is way more analytic stuff than algebraic stuff, because if I, for example, look at if we look sort of in the complex plane and we sort of look at the analog of that, we can have stuff which is, for example, the graph of the exponential function, z omega. Which is given by exponential of z is equal to omega. So you can sort of think of this guy as being given by the zero of this function, exponential of z minus omega. Then this guy is clearly not a polynomial, right? So you might think that there's way more analytic stuff than algebraic stuff, but it turns out there's kind of a miracle of nature, is that there is exactly the same amount in projective space. There's exactly the same amount of analytic stuff and algebraic stuff.
Okay, so I'm not sure if I'm confused by the wording. So when you say exactly the same amount, what you mean is that they are exactly the same, like analytic varieties are the same as algebraic varieties, because the same amount. I don't know if you are talking about cardinality, in which case.
No, yeah, I mean, yeah. What I mean is that if you have, okay, so everything which is given by an algebraic equation as polynomials are a special case of analytic function, then those are automatically analytic, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But what is hard is the converse, right?
Yeah.
If I give you something which is given by analytic function, it doesn't seem clear that it should be given by polynomial equation.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So,
Yeah, for example,
so you're saying is that in the projective space, analytic projective varieties are exactly the same as
yes.
Projective varieties. Okay.
Yeah, which is kind of
surprising. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, because for example, in situ this is completely false. For example, the graph of the function exponential is not algebraic. It's it's something purely analytic. So there's kind of something very special going on in the projective space. Maybe we will not prove all of that, but usually the statement I would like to prove is that all compact Riemann surface.
Oh, so this is not a special of the projective space. Is it true for all compact Riemann surfaces?
The what?
So this is not particular of the projective space. Is it? It is true for.
So projective space is not a compact Riemann surface unless n is equal to 1, because projective space is a compact complex manifold, but of a higher dimension.
Yeah.
So it's sort of the analog of that. But the thing which is very classical is to show that all compact Riemann surfaces are given by algebraic equation
on the projective space, on a projective space.
We can even give like kind of a more numerical bound. We can show it's in P3.
Really?
Oh, cool.
Wow.
Yeah. Most of them are in P2, but there's a few exceptions which has to be done in P3.
Right. So that basically gives us another definition of Riemann, compact Riemann surfaces.
Yes. So they will just be given by homogeneous polynomial in P2 and P3, basically. Yeah, but this is sort of like this is kind of thing which is cool with Riemann surfaces. There's like a few ways that you can sort of start the subject. You can really start with like more the calculus way, which is more like defining like kind of manifold-like structure. But if you're people doing, for example, algebraic geometry, people in algebraic geometry will just start by saying that a Riemann surface is just a projective curve, and that a smooth projective curve, and this is kind of a miracle that those two definitions will turn out to agree. Okay. And okay, now I can maybe talk a bit about some of the cool stuff about Riemann surface. Is that actually we have a topological classification of them.
Before that, Kaller Putka is asking, is that related to the Weierstrass factorization theorem?
Sort of. So Weierstrass factorization theorem is a theorem about local behavior of analytic function, which is not exactly the same thing. Usually, the general theorem that says that all analytic projectivity is the same as algebraic projectivity is usually known as Child's theorem. But it's a bit, in general, in higher dimensions, it's a bit more complicated to prove. For Riemann surface, this is not that too bad, but in higher dimensions, it's a bit more work. Okay. So, I guess we already talk about one example of a compact, so I should say topological classification of compact Riemann surface.
Wait. So this is another possible goal, so you were talking about the potential goals for this series of streams, right?
Yeah. So one goal I have in mind is maybe we can show this part.
Okay. And then this is the second one, like the topological classification of compact.
Oh, well, I don't want to do the whole classification because the classification requires just a lot of algebraic topology and kind of a lot of tools. It's kind of a hard result, but I just want to give you a perspective, okay? To talk about, basically I want to talk about the genus of a compact Riemann surface, and I want to talk about surface of genus 1, which are so-called elliptic curve. And I want to talk to you about stuff we can do with elliptic curve, which are really cool. Okay?
Yeah. So how many possible mini bosses did you come up with?
I mean, it kind of depends about. I mean, I don't think we should do all of them, but I think if there's one which sort of interests you, we should do it.
I mean, I'm down to anyone and any of them. In any case, is like if people are interested, like after that one, we can choose another one, and
Yeah. And I mean, I tried to give them a bit some kind of flavor to it.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe for this part, we will mostly use complex analysis to do this part.
Which part? The topological classification of elliptic curve?
For showing that all Riemann surfaces are algebraic equation P3. Those are kind of analytic tool that you have to use it, but there's a bit of machinery involved.
Right. Okay, pen center is back.
Okay. So we saw one example of a compact Riemann surface, and we sort of see that it looks like a sphere, right?
Right.
And so usually what I will give you now is kind of the classification, but it will just be the topology of them. So it's possible for example, the same space to have different complex structure, but for that we might go into have to talk a little bit. But they have a very nice quantity which is called the genus, which is roughly the number of handle they have. So if they don't have handle at all, they just looks like sphere. Okay, now this is the hard part. I have to draw a torus. If they have one handle, you get the torus, and after that you get those kind of how do you call it in English? When you go to the you know, during the summer you can go to a park when you have like water attraction and stuff like that.
What?
Yeah, there's like water attraction. You can like go to water slide and stuff like that.
Wait, so this is like you're talking about like an inflatable thing that you can like ride?
Yeah. They basically look like that. So genus 2, you would have like kind of two. You sort of have those inflated kind of stuff, but for two people. And for genus 3, you will just have like kind of three guys like that. I guess my drawing is pretty bad, but.
Okay, I'll try to find it. I think I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here's one with 3. Oh, here's one with 2. Yeah, each hole fits one person.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, this is a good way to remember. The genus is your number of friends during a water park excursion with your friend.
And so what I
Uh-huh.
remember from algebraic topology is it has something to do with the number of circles that you can kind of wrap around these holes.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so the number of circle that you can sort of wrap around are usually called the Betti number, and usually are noted with B1. And the genius is, but then you have this relation, which is the Betti number is always an even number, and it's sort
always
of
2 times
B1
the
is equal
genus.
to 2G. Yeah. So for this guy, I mean, I can maybe draw it for the torus. For the other guy, I don't really want to do it. But for this guy, you have like kind of two loops that you can consider. You have this kind of bracelet that you have on the torus. And you also have another loop that you can also consider, which is,
The one perpendicular to that one, I think, right?
yeah, this one. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
the one that you had in mind. Yeah, those
Yes,
are
yeah.
sort of the two loops that generate the one. For the sphere, there is none because if you think about it,
Oh, they
Uh,
all are topologically equivalent to a singular
yeah,
point,
yeah,
then, right?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay, that's why it's
yeah.
0. Okay.
Yeah, and usually the way you argument that is that you say, "Oh, I have a sphere like that," and okay, if I sort of okay, this is a bit of annoying to justify, but I can justify that I can choose my loop to not go through the pole north, or at least it would miss at least one point on the sphere. And then what you do is you say, "Oh, I have a stereographic projection, so I will project down I mean, the part of this thing without the North Pole. So I will get the loop inside of the complex plane, right?
Right.
And one thing you can sort of show is that in the complex plane, it's not too hard to show, but you can show that all loops are contractible, so they're all trivial, and that will show you that there. I mean, you can probably just think like intuitively if you sort of imagine, the loop as being made of some kind of rubber, which you can sort of deform. You can probably see that you can like always push a loop to like until it's kind of a constant loop at one point, right?
Yeah, like if you take a tennis ball and you put an elastic band around it, you can always
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
can kind
yeah.
of slowly remove that band, right?
Yeah,
It's very
yeah,
easy.
Yeah. But for the torus, if you put the rubber band sort of like in this part here, there is no way you can.
Yeah, you can't remove
Like,
that rubber band very easily, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you cannot. So yeah.
So for
those
G2,
are usually
how many
what,
do you have for G2? 1, 2,
so you
is
have
it
4.
4? 1,
Yeah.
2, 3, and then there's one around the entire space then. Okay.
Yeah. I
So
always get a
the,
bit confused about remember which loops are the generator for the higher one, but yeah.
Right, like
at least
there'd
for the
be
torus.
like one here, one here, one here, and then one all the way around is how I think about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are the loops. And okay, so okay, and usually what's kind of interesting is that okay, so the one which are on the right are a bit complicated to obtain. They're usually obtained by taking the disk and doing some very complicated sort of identifying point with very complicated Mobius transformation. And the guy on the left, the sphere, there's only one complex structure, so this one is not really interesting because there's only basically the only compact Riemann surface of genus 0 is just the Riemann sphere. There's no possible variation. So this leaves us with one class which is sort of easy to work out, which is the class of genus 1. And they have a very fancy name if you ever heard about them. So compact Riemann surface of genus 1 are called elliptic curve. And one thing we can, so okay, I can sort of describe you what is the usual construction to build an elliptic curve, and you can show that all. That's what be one thing that we have to show. Is that if I start with the complex number, I can consider what we call a lattice.
Are we just like, so the lattice will just be using like integer
Multiple of some
vector.
vector. Yeah.
Does it have to be integer? Can it be any?
They have to be integers. So okay, maybe I can sort of give you. So and maybe I will call the lattice. I don't know. Gamma is a good name for lattice. So what it will just be. So maybe I can write it a bit more explicitly, but I can say this is all the integer multiple of tau 1 plus m tau 2, where any m's are integers. Usually you want to have you want them to you want to have some conditions. So for example, you want tau 1. Okay, first of all, you want them to not be 0. Well, I guess we can sort of tau 1 and tau 2 are not 0. So this condition is just making sure. So maybe I can just draw on the graph. So okay, let's say this is the origin, and we have like tau 1 and we have tau 2 like that. So this condition that the ratio of them is not a real number is just to make sure that tau 1s and tau 2 are not real multiple of each other's. Okay. Otherwise, my lattice will be more like will looks more like some kind of line rather than like a sort of point in 2 dimensions, in sort of a 2-dimensional space. Does the definition of a lattice make sense?
I'm not sure why the not equal to a real number. So what do we want that ratio to be?
We just want it to be something which is a complex
I
number.
think the whole idea is that you actually get something in the plane. If they were like a real number, you would get something in 1 dimension instead. Like
oh, sorry,
tau 1
I
and
was
tau 2.
yeah. No, my bad. I was looking at the wrong thing. I was thinking n divided by m, and I'm like, well, these are both integers. Why are we not allowed to have a real number? Yes, I understand now. Okay, yeah.
Yes. And Pucha asked what if they have to do something with double periodic function, and that's an extremely good question because that's one of the exciting part. Okay, and usually you can take a lattice like that, and what you do is you define your elliptic curve to be E quotient out by your lattice. So what does this mean concretely? It means that you will consider now 2 points in the Z0, Z1 in the plane to be equivalent, so 0, 0 is equivalent to Z1, if and only if they differ by some element of the lattice. And usually what you usually what you can do to sort of make the definition a bit more digestible is that, okay, if we have a lattice like that, like I draw above, and let's see, this is the origin and this is our tau 0 and this is our tau 1. Then what you can show is that you can always translate any complex number to fit inside of this domain. Okay. I mean, I don't know if that's clear, but whenever I give you like, I mean that's something you maybe have to sort of convince yourself. But whenever I give you a complex number inside of the, I mean, just some z and c, you can always find. I guess I should probably write it like that. You can always find some element of your lattice, such that z minus this element will be inside of this region here. Maybe I will call this region here, I don't know, maybe let's call it S because it's kind of a square. Okay, maybe it's a bit better if we go back to the picture I had before with the big lattice.
No, I mean that intuitively makes sense, right? Like you're gonna take a complex number that lands somewhere in the complex plane. You should be able to find a lattice member such that when you subtract that, it's gonna land. Yeah, I think I can kind of visually see that, right? Like if my complex number was like out here, I could take a subtraction by, I don't know, like this one, right? And have it land down here, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I get the gist of what you're trying to say, yeah.
Yeah. And maybe just we can sort of kind of see that this give... So maybe I will just redraw that. So those kind of square are called usually fundamental square. I mean, fundamental polygon usually they're called, but... what's the real name in English? Fundamental domain. Okay, that's the word I was looking for. Okay. And if we use this identification, so each point in this kind of neighbor are like kind of unique, in the inside of the square. But if you take a point which is on the boundary, for example, this point here, then this point here will be equivalent to this point here because they differ by
one of our
by a tau zero, right?
Or one of our tau. Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah. And usually what we told you in algebraic topology is that, okay, what you can sort of think about what will be the quotient is that you will have sort of those two sides of your rectangle, and you're gonna glue them together. Okay?
Right.
If you have like a sheet of paper, I mean, maybe we can find a picture of that. But this, if you sort of just glue those two guys together, you will get some kind of cylinder, right? Maybe I can actually try to draw the picture.
I see you, Sascha. I see you through this cylinder.
You see me through the cylinder. We're sort of gonna get something that looks like that.
You're just taking, you get like a toilet paper roll. That's what I always tell people.
Yeah. But there's nothing special about sort of those guys. We can also do it with the bottom and the top, right?
Right, and if we glue and if we glue those together, then we should get a torus.
Yeah, exactly. So on the picture, they will look something like that.
If you do it on that direction, if you do it in the other direction, you get a clean bottle, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a couple of ways you can do it. If you sort of trying to mess around with the gluing, you can get like real projective space. You can get the Klein bottle.
Yeah, you got it.
There's a lot of cool stuff you can do. Yeah. So you get some kind of torus.
Now, those objects in like complex projective space must be slightly different, right? Like, I mean, we can kind of...
Yes. Yes, they do.
Yeah, I guess what I'm thinking of, like, yes, like I remember talking about this stuff in algebraic topology, but I feel like in complex projective space, there's more dimensions here, right? So they might feel a bit different.
Yeah. Also, one thing you can sort of do is that, okay, here I sort of draw you a square lattice, but usually a lattice doesn't have to be square, it can be have more fancy shape. Usually, if you sort of change the way that, if you change your lattice, usually you will get another elliptic curve, and this elliptic curve will not be the same as the one with the square lattice. I mean, we will talk about what it means to be two elliptic curve to be kind of equivalent, kind of isomorphous, and this will mean that you can find some sort of holomorphic function, which sort of between those two elliptic curves, which is a bijection, and its inverse is also holomorphic. And if you sort of change the lattice, you will sort of change what kind of complex structure you got on your torus. So there's actually a bunch of complex structures on the elliptic curve that you can put.
Wait. Okay, let me see if I can phrase this in a linear algebra kind of way. So you're saying with this lattice, we basically have a basis of tau 1 and tau 2. In some sense, right? So
Yeah.
I could apply some kind of linear transformation to this lattice, and that corresponds to one elliptic curve being isomorphic to another elliptic curve.
Yeah, so, okay, maybe I can sort of explain it a bit. But if for example, we have, okay, one thing I could sort of do with this lattice, right, is I could sort of rotate all the points, right?
Yes.
By multiplying by some complex number, which is like of module 1, right? I would be able to sort of rotate this elliptic curve, right? I can also kind of scale up and scale down also the lattice because I can just multiply by just some non-zero complex number. I could also translate, but translate is kind of pointless. We don't really use that anymore. But anyway, so if I have two elliptic curves that come from a lattice, which come from two different lattices, but the two lattices are sort of related by rotation or by some scaling. Well, I mean, they're really the same if you multiply by some non-zero complex number. Then the two elliptic curves you will get will be they will be the same. They will be isomorphic. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
But in general, if you start with two unrelated torus, which has nothing, if you start with two unrelated lattice, which are not like the same. They're like very different from each other's. Then you will get two elliptic curve, and those elliptic curve will be different. They will not be isomorphic in general.
Okay, were you drawing anything there, or just kind of explaining some ideas?
I was just explaining. I was actually with my head in the air and trying to explain stuff, but I guess I don't have my camera open.
I just wanted to make sure. BGX, I have your question. We can solve that after we're done with Slim and Sascha here.
Yeah. Okay.
Han Yola wants to know what are Han Yola wants to know what are those squiggly lines? I believe they're brackets. They're very French brackets.
Okay. Now we'll sort of. Okay. So Pan sort of raised one question, which is what they look in projective space, and Utica asked a question about does ellipticals has anything to do with double periodic function, also called a harmonic function. Not harmonic. How do they call it in? Do they just call it doubly periodic in English? Oh no, they call it elliptic function. I think that's the English word for that.
Elliptic functions.
Anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had a Wikipedia page, and I was looking at this. I'll see if I can go. Don't mind my rafts. Here it is. So this was like an elliptic curve. It looked like it was a polynomial, or at least represented by a polynomial in projective space.
Yeah, and there's kind of this cool thing, which is okay. So we have something which is called. So you see in complex analysis, you can sort of ask what is the analog of a periodic function, right?
Yeah.
And
analog of periodic function.
Yeah. And usually the answer is a doubly periodic function. They look something like that. So they will be function from the complex plane to. I mean, they will just be holomorphic functions from C to C, such that they are invariant under our lattice.
Brace yourselves, everyone.
For all lambda inside of our lattice.
Hey Simplex, welcome in. Thanks for the raid.
And this is sort of analogous to periodic function over the real number, because periodic function over the real numbers are function like from R to R, which are invariant under fx plus lambda. Well, lambda is just a multiple of, I mean, I guess it could be alpha z, right?
Yep. So now we just want to... Okay, so you're extending it out to the lattice then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
theoretically.
I mean, basically because those conditions are kind of so you see those function f that satisfy this condition are compatible with our quotient, right? Because now when we do the quotient, we identify points which differ by an element of our lattice. So this function is actually well defined on the quotient. So we get a function like that. And I mean, as usual in complex analysis, you want this guy to be analytic, right? But there's just one kind of issue.
Yeah, that's always the hope.
There's one problem though. As we said, any point in the in this sort of lattice can be represented as a point in this domain, right? Which is this kind of rectangle, right? Which means that our function will actually repeat the value of this rectangle over and over, right?
Right.
But there's kind of an issue is because this rectangle is a closed and bounded subset of C, right?
The rectangle is, yes.
Yes. Thus, f will be a bounded function from C to C. Which is analytic, so we will say, no, this will be a constant function.
Right.
So there is no interesting holomorphic function from the torus to C. I mean, this is basically what we explained before. If the space is compact, there is no holomorphic function other than the constant one.
Right.
But one thing you can sort of say, okay, I will settle for less. I will let's say instead of talking about analytic, we can sort of go to the cheaper version, which is meromorphic, right?
Meromorphic, yeah.
We allow f to have a pole, and it's a bit hard to come out with an actual like kind of a function which is meromorphic on this kind of lattice, but there is one, and I have to draw this very awkward p. I guess I will write it like that. And this is defined as the following. Okay, maybe here I would maybe want to consult it Wikipedia because I don't want to make a mistake. Okay, I have it now. Is 1 over z squared plus this double sum minus 1 over lambda. Okay, it's possible to check that this guy is actually a meromorphic function. And this function has a very special name. It's called the Weierstrass P function. And with the real number, there's kind of like two sort of like basic periodic function, which sort of like you can sort of build all the other periodic function out of that. Is like the cosine and the sine, right?
Yeah. So Han was asking what's a meromorphic function. So it's basically analytic except for the poles, right?
Yeah. So they're basically a ratio of two holomorphic function.
Yeah.
And it turns out that this guy has in the real case we sort of have a very nice periodic function which is cosine and sine, right? Weierstrass P function is a bit like that. It also have a derivative function which is also doubly periodic. And actually, it satisfies a certain differential equation. So maybe I can just write it. So it's pz square plus is equal to 4 p cube z minus some constants which are called g2. Those constants are kind of interesting to compute, but they're a bit hard. It's a bit like, you know, in calculus when you try to compute, for example, the sum of inverse of 1 over the square, right? Like the Bessel series.
Right.
It's a bit like that, but I mean, usually they're a bit complicated to compute, but they're just constants, so it doesn't matter. So they satisfy this this kind of differential equation. And I think someone, so I think that span that you went on Wikipedia and you looked on elliptic function, right?
Yes.
And you saw they were sort of given by, I mean, one sort of elliptic function is to look at cubic in P2, which looks a little bit something like that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and basically the idea is that you can basically the idea is that if you have an elliptic curve, you can get a map to P2. PZ P prime Z, and this guy will just be, this guy will just be 1. And this gives us an embedding of an elliptic curve in P2. And yeah, so you have a very explicit, you have also a very explicit construction of that. So this is one also kind of thing we can sort of learn about, is we can learn about elliptic function and are they related to that. Elliptic function and
that'd be kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, an elliptic curve in P2. I mean, this is kind of a very
so for the sake of time, Sascha, I would like to kind of try to wrap this up in the next couple of minutes so that I can help out with a couple of calculus problems.
Oh, okay. Well, I had one last project, but I don't know if we have time.
I mean, if you can just quickly mention it, and maybe we can discuss offline and figure out which one we want to do.
Okay, I will do a speed run of it.
Yeah, so speed run would be great.
Yeah.
All right.
Pen Center can put like I don't know, like these questions on Discord, and maybe people can tell them what they are more interested.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Okay, so basically we saw for elliptic curve, they're sort of given by lattice, and
So
basically what you can do.
For just a couple seconds.
Hmm?
No, go ahead. I was talking to somebody in chat.
So basically, up to like doing some rotation and some scaling
BGX,
down, you can always take your lattice
tight
to
for
the
5-10 minutes. We're gonna let Sascha finish up, and then I'll be able to answer those two questions. For you.
some kind of. Given by stuff like that. So the first vector is sort of 1, and the other one is something which lie on the upper half. We can even be a bit more clever. We can even make sure you lie in the. Okay, I guess I will just go on Wikipedia and just take the picture. So moduli space of elliptic curves. Okay, it looks a little bit something like that.
Whoa. I feel like I'm going into a circus.
So it's possible to always make sure that the tau here, which is called the period, always lie into this region. Sort of. Okay, I guess I can. We can always choose tau. We can always choose tau to be sort of in this guy. Also, there's kind of a thing with the lattice. Basically, a lattice is kind of a two-dimensional vector space, but instead of being over like a field, it's over like the integers. And there's usually a couple of ways that you can choose a basis of your lattice. Just like there's like multiple ways of choosing a basis of a vector space, right? And what you see here is that basically any element of your so you can always choose your basis to be one here and tau somewhere here, but there's like multiple value of tau that will give you the same lattice, and they will always lie into the upper half plane, and they sort of related by a matrix, which you know in linear algebra. Sort of if you want to change base in linear algebra, you usually have to write a matrix, and this matrix has to be invariable to give you a base. But if you're dealing with if you're dealing with stuff which is our integer, you have to have something which is in you have to have a matrix which has integer coefficient and its determinant is 1 or -1. But it's already possible to fix it to be 1. Anyway. So what you're seeing in this picture, which looks like a bit like someone took acid or whatever, is basically the upper half plane under this action of those matrices which are called in SL2Z. And what you're doing here is just so the black part here is what we call the fundamental domain. And there's something which is a bit interesting, is that if you take the upper half plane and you quotient out by SL2Z, you get a space which is very special. This is called the moduli space of elliptic curve. And basically, there's a very geometric meaning of what is that a point on the moduli space of elliptic curve corresponds to an isomorphous class of elliptic curve. So it's kind of a very trippy space to think about it, because points are actually parameterize elliptic curve. And so this is one of the subjects we can talk about, is why this specific action gives you a moduli space of elliptic curve, which is also kind of a very interesting problem. But one thing we can also study is that we can study function on this elliptic on this space, and function on this space, which are holomorphic, are called modular function. And those functions are kind of very good for elliptic curve, because basically, if you have an injective modular function, this is like a perfect invariant for elliptic curve. You can just basically pass your elliptic curve into that function, and it will tell you if if you have two elliptic curves and you're not sure if they're the same, you can sort of give it to this function, and you will have something. But there's kind of a generalization of that, which is called modular forms, and maybe you've heard about it, but modular forms is kind of something that really took off in number theory. A lot of extremely hard theorems were proven recently. Sort of recently with.
It's already old, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's already like 50 years old, right?
Yeah. For example, Fermat's theorem was famously proven using those kind of property of modular forms. So this is kind of one project we could also have.
Yeah, those are pretty interesting, Kaller. Thank you for finding them. Yeah, I think we can talk offline and figure out which one we want to do first.
Yeah.
See, Kaller's lecture better than an acid trip.
I thought that was a good comment.
Yeah. Yeah, Kaller, I have to leave relatively soon because I have to give the medicine to the cat.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, we can discuss offline. And yeah, this was great. It was for a lot of fun. Thank you so much for preparing.
Yeah, sorry if I was a bit all over the places, because it's a bit hard to give an informal speech and not. Without spending way too much time. So I'm sorry if I spent too much time about talking about some of the stuff.
No, this is
I
great.
think it was fun.
All right.
All right. I'll talk to you later, folks. And thank you so much. We can discuss offline then. But I assume we are gonna do it again next week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, next week around the same time should be good for me.
Yeah, actually, Slim, would you like to do the topology? I mean, because I think Ben really wants to have a review of topology, so it's probably good if we spend at least one stream on topology.
Sure,
Would
I
you?
can do review of
Okay.
topology. If you send me the theorems that you will need,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I
yeah.
can. Okay, yeah, I'll do that. Okay,
All right.
perfect. All right, have a good one, folks, and thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye, Slim. And
Bye,
thanks so
Slim.
much, Sasha, for everything. That was a really cool introduction to some of the problems that we could explore. So hopefully we'll be able to settle down and find something that would be fun for a couple people to listen to.
I just saw the message of Femvox saying the calorie lecture better than an acid trip.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's awesome. I think it was because of the tent, the colors of this last.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah,
you will see next week. Next week it will be a bit more understandable that now. Today was just kind of give you a taste, but I guess.
Yeah, today felt like a very kind of a big overview of some of the cool things that we could eventually talk about.
We basically
right?
do a jet and we just fly over the country of Rebound Surface and. Yeah.
Okay, thanks again, Sasha, and I guess we'll decide and maybe post some stuff up on Discord and see what people want to talk about. And I'm gonna pop off the voice call because I have a couple of questions that were posted into Discord just to solve with calculus. All right.
All right. Have fun with the calculus and thanks everyone for watching.
All right. Thanks again. Take care.
See ya.
All right. Well, that was crazy. I'm not gonna lie. That was some cool shit. I feel like I followed about half of that, but I'm excited to potentially explore some more of that stuff. All right. I'm just gonna increase some music for us here. We have a few questions that have been posted in the Discord server. So I want to take a few moments to go through those with BGX. So BGX, if you're around, feel free to let me know in. Sweet. Okay, so you're kicking around. Let's take a look at those questions. So I have this one here. I was doing a little bit of work on this one while Sasha was chatting about some of the stuff. So what do we need? We need the second derivative. Just want to see if they're accurate. Okay, yeah, sure. Let me pop that up so I can see what your answers look like. Do you want to see the working here, or do you want to just get a clarification? Because we're looking at a double derivative here. This could get pretty messy. Maybe I can do it quickly. So let's see. So our first derivative would be, what is it, 2x, and we have 16x squared plus 8x plus 1. We need to subtract the derivative of the bottom, I guess, which would be, what, 32x plus 8. And then multiply that by x squared plus 2 and divide by the denominator squared. I'll take a look at Discord. Explanation would be great. Cool. Yeah, so let's actually work our way through these then. Oh, chaotic. Yeah, for sure. We'll be posting this. It'll just be on a Twitch VOD after I'm done stream, so you can go back and take a look at some of the pieces that you missed. And then we're going to be posting into Discord a couple of the choose your own adventure paths, and hopefully people will vote or maybe let us know kind of what they want to talk about, and we'll choose one of those paths to talk about first and just kind of see where that goes. So I'm new to all of this, so I'm gonna pick the one that's probably the most linear algebra focused. I'm not gonna lie, or one that I think I can at least kind of visualize a little bit with linear algebra. What are we gonna get over on this side? What's this over here? This will be 32x cubed plus 64x plus 8x squared plus 16. And what are we going to get here? This will be 32x squared plus 16x squared plus 2x. Do we get any cancellations here? No, this is x cubed, isn't it? 32x cubed, 16x squared, and a 2x. So it looks like we will get some cancellations. I'll just highlight them in black. So the 32x cubes looks like they're going to cancel, which is great news. Nothing else is going to cancel, but we can combine some stuff. So maybe it's worthwhile to do some combines here. I'll feel confident on the first one? Yeah, sure. I'll double check it eventually and then get back to you on that. So let's grab this second one. Okay. We're gonna be like that. Surface Pros are both lovely and annoying at the same time. There we go. So find and classify the critical points of the function, indicate the absolute max or min, and sort lowest to highest x value. Sorry, I'm just giving myself some space here. So we need absolute max, critical points. So critical points, we'll just need to take the derivative. So what do we need here? 12x cubed plus 60x squared plus 48x. And we want to set that equal to 0. So can we divide? I think we can divide through by 12x. Is that our common factor here? 48 is divisible by 12, right? So let's take out a 12x, and that'll give us x squared. That's 5x and 4. And then hopefully this is factorable. It looks like it should be relatively nice to factor this and maybe using 4 and 1. Does that seem okay? we got some Mario music happening here. Okay, so it looks like your critical numbers match up with mine. So 0, -1, -4, perfect. Okay, so I check out with that. That makes sense. And then we want to indicate the absolute max or min and sort lowest to highest x value. I see. So they just want you to... Yeah, I guess we just really take these back and we plug these values back into the original function. So we would want to find f evaluated at 0, which should be 3 times 0 plus 20 times 0 plus 24 times 0. So I agree with you on the 0, -40. And I will just probably plug the other ones. Actually, let's just go over to Desmos, and that way we can plot this. And we can get accurate numbers. So our function is 3x to the 4 plus 20x cubed plus 24x squared minus 40, and we are curious about f at -1 and f at -4. Is it shift that I need? There it is. Yeah, so we can see those critical points popping out here. So we'd already found the 0, -40. Desmos does give us the -1, -33, which looks good, and the -4, -168. Yeah, so the absolute min, you're right, is going to be the -164. Our local max, yeah, will be the -1, -33, and our local min will be 0, negative. Yeah, so that seems good to me. Okay, so that one looks good. I'm happy with that. Holy smokes, what the fuck's going on here? Yeah, looks good to me, BGX. I think you have it. Whatever you posted into Discord looks good to me. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, what's going on here? Complete the tables. So I would speedrun this one probably using Desmos as well. Desmos should be able... This is just a polynomial, so let's just pop this into Desmos. If all you want's the speed run and you don't need to see too much calculation here, let's just do this. So x cubed minus 18x squared minus 80x minus 12. Okay, and then let's just kind of recenter our... Oh, this is going to be another one of these weird polynomials. Okay. This is cubic, so let's see. Let's just kind of get a good viewing window here. Desmos gives me two interesting points. So one at -4 and one at -5. So why? Oh, because it wants concavity. Okay, so concavity is going to be a little bit more annoying. So they've given a -4.5. So concavity is going to happen where our second derivative is equal to 0. Which is exactly right here. Okay, so yes, so your number... Yeah, your -4.5 is good. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Yeah, okay, so let's take a look at everything less than... Everything less than -5 should have a negative slope. So yeah, your f prime looks good, and it should be concave up, so your f double prime looks good. Cool. At exactly -5, f prime is 0, and we're concave up, so second column looks good. In between -5 and -4.5. What's going on here? So our concavity changes here, so this is still concave up, and this is in between, so we go from negative... Let me just stretch this out a touch. So yeah, I think we're going to see an upward trend here of our first derivative. So I think your third column looks okay at exactly -4.5. We still have positive slopes, but you're right, a 0 second derivative, so that column looks good. In this little space here, yeah, still positive slopes, but concave down, so that column looks good. At exactly -4, we have a 0 first derivative and a concave down second derivative. And then in this region over here, everything is concave down, and we have negative slopes again. So yeah, I think your chart looks good. Your chart looks good, man. I think you got this. Yeah, don't trust ChatGPT. Trust what you have in the chart. Your chart is good. So I'm looking at this one here, and everything that you have in this chart is correct. Or at least, if I was your instructor, this is what I would expect to see in the chart. Yeah, yeah. Famish says don't trust ChatGPT. ChatGPT probably won't know what to do with some of the edge cases. So what you have here, all of this looks good. Another ChatGPT model. Okay, yeah. Did this the difference between 4.0 and 5.0? This, what you got here is good. What you got here is good. I would roll with this. Cool. Do you want me to have a speed run at the first question, or are you cool? Back to first question? Okay. Let's speed run that one. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to use... it's probably easiest just to go ahead and use Desmos again. So pardon me as I'm just going to get the function in here. I just need to scroll up on my screen. So we're looking at this. So 16x squared plus 8x plus 1. And numerator is x squared plus 2. Okay, so this is what our function looks like. I don't really care about the function because it's asking us about the second derivative, so I'm just going to make Desmos plot the second derivative. And what we're going to do is we're going to double check the second derivative with what you have here. So I'm just going to plug this function into Desmos, and if it overlaps, then I think you're good. So we have 2 times 97 minus 8x all over 16x squared plus 8x plus 1 squared. Sweet. So there you go. So I think we're good. So it's asking for the greatest common factor, what's remaining, and so I think you're good. If I look at 97 take away 8x, there's nothing else that I can factor out of there. I think 97 is prime, isn't it? I mean, it certainly doesn't have a factor of 2 in it. So we can't factor this any further. So I think you're good. I think question 1 is good, man. Sweet. So, I mean, have a good night, man, and thanks for the questions. Chaotic, where is your question? Where is your original question? Yeah, I mean, you can post another question into chat if you want. All good, into the mass chat. But Chaotic, where is your last message? Is it in general? That's not there. Yeah, totally, Chaotic. Just send me a DM, and then I'll see what I have on my laptop, and I can give you resources for what you want. So, I taught complex analysis. I taught complex analysis as a directed studies, and then I taught linear algebra with Zach. The linear algebra course is a bit more introductory, and then the complex variable stuff would be. You'd need a fair amount of linear algebra there. So I kind of expected students to have an intro linear algebra course to be able to do the complex analysis stuff. But yeah, just shoot me a DM on Discord and we'll make it happen. In the meantime, I got to go do some adulting stuffs. So unless you need me for anything else, BGX, I'm gonna maybe start a raid off into gold stream, because it looks like gold's on doing some help as well. So let's raid off over into gold stream. Oh, just restarting. Oh, nice. Okay. I can help you just via Discord if you want, BGX too. Like if you post it in there, I'll do it right now since I'm around. But I'm gonna get a raid off, starting a raid off into Dr. Goldstream. He does a lot of mathematics help as well. So he does math, chem, physics. I assume just like biology. Like this guy does everything. But yeah, I'll help you in Discord, BGX. It's all good. And just in case, because sometimes Gold has like a queue of questions, and my queue's at 0 right now, so it's a little easier to manage. Oh, you know Gold. Oh, nice. Yeah. So, hey, hi, it's me. I'm Penn Center. Anyway, let's start wrapping some shit up here. Ending. There we go. We'll do that. Yeah, my queue tends to be a little bit easier to get into because Gold has a lot of stuff, right? His background is everything. So he's helping people, and he's helping people on YouTube, on TikTok. Right now, I'm just focused on Twitch, so it's a little bit easier to get a hold of me. But yeah, shoot me a message or post it into Discord, and I'll take a look at it right away. All right, everyone, have a good rest of your day wherever you are. When am I back next? I'll be back tomorrow night. Tomorrow night and Saturday are Zelda streams. So tomorrow evening and Saturday evening will be Zelda. One's Ocarina of Time. One is going to be A Link to the Past. And then Friday we have our first podcast with E to the 2i Pi with Zach. Check that out. 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Until then, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.